Hey man, just giving you a quick call. I just wanted to let you know that you are so close, dude. You're so much closer than you think. A lot of these big goals that we've had and these big aspirations, they're right around the corner for you, dude. So you just cannot give up. So stoked for you to see this. P.S. We bought a Lambo. So keep going, bro. We'll talk soon. Peace.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Bryson. This is the Bryson Everyday Project podcast. This podcast is a little bit different than other ones out there. Here, I only focus on documentation. I don't focus on quality or being professional or being entertaining. If that sounds like something you're interested in, I'd love for you to stick around and give the show a listen. You can also follow me on Instagram at BRQUSE. Thank you so much. Here's the show. All right, what's going on? Today may have been one of the worst days I've had in a long time. Not like I had a shitty day, but just didn't do anything today. And that sucks to say out loud and to admit. But I didn't do shit. Not one thing. And I mean that. It's 7:35 p.m. I haven't been on Notion once. I haven't done shit at all. I mean, nothing. I think actually that's a lie. I think I was on Notion for like an hour this morning. So here's how today went. And I'm just going to be completely honest. That's the whole point of this documentation of a podcast. It just sucks because I know people who are listening. I just, got to be better at that. So anyway, so I spent I guess you wouldn't know if you haven't listened to yesterday's show yet, but spent the night at Lexi's again, woke up, came home, and then I think that's when I worked in Notion for like an hour. Then I get a call from my mom. She says, "Hey, we're on our way," and I was like, "Oh shoot, I totally forgot." It was me and my mom, my grandpa, and my uncle had a coffee date, and I was excited about that. So I go, and I told him I would have to be quick. Like I go there, grab coffee, say what's up, and then peace out. 3 hours go by, and not gonna lie, it was great to catch up with everybody and see everybody. But, it's almost noon, and it's like, okay, I got to go. No, it wasn't noon. It was probably 11. And so then I did that. Then I came home, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to chill for a sec and, try to read up on this shooting and see if there's any new news. And long story short, now it's 7:37, haven't done anything. This whole shooting thing has really taken a grip over my attention, and it sucks because I'm so aware of that. It absolutely has, and it's interesting because it's very, very similar to what happened when Trump got shot. And I feel like podcast episodes that say all these keywords are just flagged immediately, so whatever. But when that happened, I spent days just trying to learn more and trying to, catch up on and follow everything that was happening. And it's very consuming because I want to, I'm just extremely curious. I want to know what happened. This is such a moving thing, unfortunately. And I obviously I mean that nothing positive whatsoever. It's very, I guess, unsettling is what I should have said. Moving in the sense of, kind of awakening to what the fuck is actually going on, And I've just been really consumed by all this. I've been reading X like all day, just reading, seeing what people are saying, and just comparing that to or I guess not comparing. I'm not doing really any trying to figure out he said, she said, trying to find loopholes. I'm just reading what's put out there, listening to podcasts, different people's perspective, different people's theories, things like that. And ultimately just, kind of being sad that this patriot was just assassinated. I'm not going to say on live TV, but I mean, kind of, because the footage is everywhere. One thought that I had when I shared it with Lexi was that all of these debates, they're always filmed with Charlie's camera crew on a nice camera in HD, Cameras are really up close. And there is footage that hopefully never gets released that is probably up close and extreme detail of everything with cameras right there. I can almost guarantee. I bet you if you go and look at photos right now, you can find before the incident happened that there's cameras on the table or whatever. I know he's got a professional cameraman. There's probably some 4K footage, and it's just a horrific thought that is on an SD card somewhere. Because we're seeing the iPhone footage from different views and stuff like that, but it's just a chilling thought. And it sucks that footage is even out there. And I hate that I saw it. Something else that's kind of, I guess, on the same topic of all this shit out there that we can just see now. There's that I don't even know. Some guy, I guess, macheted off some dude's head and was kicking it around in a parking lot. And unfortunately, I saw a video of that and I clicked out of it and I felt sick. Like I was like, holy fuck. And I'm just, some of the shit that you see, I'm just trying to convince myself that it was just a horror movie. Because if it was a horror movie, it's like, oh, gory, gross, but it's fake. So I don't know. I don't know. And so admittedly, I haven't done a goddamn thing today and I feel like shit about it. I feel like I wasted a day. How can I say that I'm so serious about all of this when I just take a day knowingly and just shit on it, How can I say I value my time when clearly I don't? How can I say, so yeah, I'll be honest. Ever since I took I made this pivot in everything from going from fitness coaching to what I'm doing now, I felt insanely better about waking up and putting in work for something that I know I can do. And I know that'll be that sounded not the way that I intended. Not that I can do it and I couldn't do the fitness coaching, but waking up and, I have something that I look forward to doing. I'm excited about it. I'm borderline obsessed. I think about it always, no matter where I am. I think about what and ever since I made that transition, I've just been working nonstop. With exceptions of days like today, where I just don't do anything. But I've been working nonstop, and it feels good. But I would say that a lot of other areas in my life have taken a hit. That being, I guess eating, taking care of, just I guess all things nutrition and things like that. When I go to the gym, I'll admit my head is not really there. I kind of just do the workout and peace out. I'm not eating the way that I should be. Not that it's unhealthy or healthy, but like if my goal is to gain weight, I'm definitely not going to do that. As far as reading goes, I haven't picked up a book except for the $100 million Money Models book by Alex Hormozy. But even then, I'm like, I don't need to read this right now. I need to get my product on the marketplace and then work on the sales aspect. So, personal development like that, I haven't done that. So, half the show, documentation of entrepreneurship and personal development as a man, that part is currently absent. And yeah, I sit at my desk and I work in Notion, and that's it. And so I say all this because yes, I've been I've enjoyed this for sure. I've spent so much time building this, and I'm very close to getting this out in the market. I just need to, buckle down and finish this last, get the home stretch done with all this. And I got a really cool story as well after all this, sad shit. But it just got me thinking, of everything that's going on in my life. And it's almost got me feeling like I need to make just big changes in my life as far as what I'm doing so that I can actually achieve the things that I want to achieve. Because days like today, they're just great reminders to myself that, truthfully, I guess I don't want it as bad as I say I do, because if I truthfully wanted it as bad as I say I do, I wouldn't have spent all day doing nothing. Now, obviously, I'm fascinated. I'm trying to learn more about a situation. Maybe long term, this is a great thing for me. You can switch how you see things and change the frame on anything to be a positive. And I think we should, but I'm not referencing anything that happened in the news. I'm just saying me spending all day doing nothing could be switched as me learning and getting a deeper understanding of different beliefs and whatever, so that I can have a better grip or view or bigger, a full picture of things that happen later. I don't know. I don't even know how to articulate what I'm thinking, but I just almost feel like I need to wake up and I need to like leave my phone in another room or take my laptop somewhere or something, because I'm just getting so distracted so easily. And it's just not good. It's just not good. And yeah, I mean, honestly, it just sucks that I even have to say all this, because if I'm being honest, like, well, a large reason of the, the procrastination or the distraction or whatever comes from me doing work for other people. And maybe this sounds horrible, but it's like when somebody asks for a project done that doesn't in any way pertain to what I'm trying to build, it's like, oh, fuck this sucks. Now it's all this time, blah, blah, blah. I'm doing this thing for them. They don't understand. They want this thing now, but it's going to be easier later. They don't get it. This thing doesn't even make sense. They want this thing. They're not even going to use the full picture. And I have to do this. It's going to take long, but they don't care because they don't. I don't want to do it. And it's unfortunate or fortunate, it's great because I'm getting paid, and it allows me to do this. But, and that's fortunate. And I love that. I'm thankful for the opportunity. I am. But it also is unfortunate because, I lost my train of thought, to be honest. Where was I going with that? It's unfortunate because it's time out of my day that I have to spend not on the big picture, and then I feel like I'm contradicting myself, because clearly that's not an issue, because I just took today and pissed it away, so what really is important, or what do I really want? Because clearly it's not anything that I've been talking about, because if it were, I wouldn't take a whole day and piss it away. I'd work with extreme urgency, right? So I don't know, dude. It's like a mental thing, and it just sucks, and it is what it is. But yeah, it just makes me feel like I need to make some, I guess, more dramatic changes in my life, set stricter boundaries, stuff as simple as literally, hey, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to leave my phone in my bedroom, and I'm not going to get up from my seat until noon or something like that. And I can do whatever I want in my office, as long as it's work or, laying on the floor. If it's not either of those two things, I can't do anything else. I can't remember who said it. Maybe it was, I can't remember who talked about it, but they said they locked themselves in a room from X o'clock to X o'clock, and they would only allow themselves to write. They didn't have to write, but that's the only thing that they could do. Meaning, if he was in the room writing, if he didn't want to write, then he would just not write. But he couldn't do anything else. It was right or not right. Pick one. And that just forced him to get so much more done. And, I just think about what I'm working on, and it's like, it's simple. It's just tedious and requires a lot of mental bandwidth to just compute all the different variables that go into one thing, so that I can account for all of them, and that way make a bulletproof product, as bulletproof as it can be, so early on. Because the last thing I want is to sell this to somebody and then there's, 500 things wrong when I could have made at least 450 of those things. I could have fixed 450 of those things before it went out. Because I'm working on it now, not right now, but I'm obviously building it now. And I've already come across some things where I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a problem. Glad I caught that. And some of the issues that I'm finding, they're pretty complex. I'm like, oh, I didn't even account for this. I'm glad I saw this. Other ones are so simple, and it's like, how did I miss that? And like, for example, last night I spent probably 30 minutes at Lexi's, at her kitchen table, trying to figure out this one problem, just one formula that changes one number for 30 minutes. Like, there's probably thousands of these things that are operating on the back end. And I just spent 30 minutes on one little thing. And when I figured it out, it was like, if I would have just read what I wrote, it would have been solved within 30 seconds. But instead, I kept using Notion AI, and I'm like, hey, fix this, make this do this. This shouldn't happen this way. Check this and make sure you verify, blah, blah, blah. And it kept producing a result that wasn't working, but it had nothing to do with the formula. It had everything to do with something else in a different column. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Obviously I get up and I start dancing, and I'm like, I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. But yeah, part of me also thinks I'm just being really hard on myself. Other part of me is like, well, clearly you don't want it as bad as you say you do, because if you did, you wouldn't have, pissed the day away. So, not to mention, this is quite an energy suck, all this political stuff. You read it and, it puts you in a bad mood. You go in a downward mental spiral, you go through the rabbit hole. And it sucks, and it's horrible, and it's sickening. But I do believe that to some extent we all need to be in the know of at least some of the things that are happening. There's being ignorant and there's being willfully ignorant. And I think that's something that I struggle with, is just, if I am aware that something is happening, but I'm like, I don't even want to look into it because I don't even want to know, I guess that's peaceful and that's mentally better, probably for most people. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not beneficial to anybody to remain ignorant on purpose to the things that are going on, even if it puts you in a bad mood, even if it makes you spiral, even if it's whatever. It's just a weird thing. Think about if we didn't have, I don't want to make this political, but if Elon didn't buy Twitter, free speech would have definitely taken a massive hit. And what would the narratives be, and what would the headlines be without all of this stuff on X? Because we'd only have the media and the news channels. What would it look like? Would we have seen the videos that we have seen? Probably not. Would we have, And so, and if you push it even further, what if we didn't have news outlets? What if we had no idea that this happened? Now, I know that, in an order of events type thing, things wouldn't have happened before if we didn't have, social media and news outlets to begin with. But this thing happened. Now, I guess this is probably a bad example for me specifically, because this happened an hour south of me at UVU. But if this happened in, I don't know, some eastern state, we'll just say Kentucky, I don't know, east of here. If that would have happened there and there's no news, nobody on the whole West Coast would have any idea that this happened. Nobody. I feel like it's an obvious thing to say, but there's just so much shit that's happening always. I don't know, dude. There's just a lot going on, and to not want to know at least some things, I don't know. I don't know if I even have a point. I'm kind of just brain dumping, and I don't know. Speaking of all of this, that, if there's anything that I want to be better at, it's just understanding before I make a claim or or share something or whatever. Because, I would describe myself as someone that's based in logic. However, when I always role play in my head. If I say, oh, this is who I support, and then someone's like, oh, give me 3 reasons why you support this person. I'm not gonna lie, and it's embarrassing to say, but I guess that's the first step in fixing, I guess, my belief system. Is like sometimes I'm just like, I have no idea what the fuck to say, and yeah, getting put on the spot, you just go blank. You don't know what you're saying. You don't even know your name. I mean, the amount of times that I've said, hey, what's up? It's October. It's not October. To put myself on the spot, I click record, and it's just like I just forget everything. And I've done this podcast 700 times, and yet I still, so something I definitely want to get better at is when I say that I believe or support whoever or whatever, or say that I oppose this company, or that I don't want to go here because of X thing, or I won't go to this place because they said whatever. I want to be able to be so clear on my belief system with those things that it's not something that I would fear if somebody called me out on it. Because truthfully speaking, again, it's embarrassing. It's a hit to the ego, but I just want to be better, and I just want to be better, and that comes with admitting that I'm wrong as fuck, and that I don't know as much as I say, or as much as I think I do, and blah 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 XYZ. I just want to be better at if I think or believe X thing or Y thing or Z event or whatever, or support this person or oppose another person. I just wanted to be able to articulate why without feeling the need to, I don't know. I just want to be able to explain what I believe and why I believe it. And I feel like I am a large consumer in knowledge, but not a huge executioner of that knowledge. For example, I can tell you that I spent however much time looking into Teslas and Elon Musk and the mission and the political stuff. But if somebody were to be like, hey, you drive a Tesla, do you support Elon Musk? I would, in my head, I'd be like, oh, fuck yeah. If they were to say why, I would probably say the one thing right now that, I believe that he saved free speech by buying X and then they would say why. And I would say, oh, I thought I saw something that said XYZ. And then they would say, oh, bullshit. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I have just consumed so much that I don't know. It's almost like I've consumed and believed the things that I've seen to a certain extent, because the news sources or people that and you can take this to not even news, you can take it to fitness or business or whatever, but you have to outsource your thinking or decision making or reasoning to somebody who is in that path or career or whatever. For example, there's scientists and they do research to provide studies, or I guess data of the studies that give us info on how to do this thing or live this way or whatever. And we can either take that and run with it, look at the science and agree with it, or we can, say that it's bullshit and then we can just look the other way. Either way, you look to somebody else for that knowledge or for that material or learning or whatever. Point I'm trying to make is that we can't do an experiment and whatever with everything to then get the evidence for ourselves. We have to outsource that line of thinking, or that we just have to trust. We have to pick somebody that we trust. Maybe I guess a good way to do that would be to figure out what their incentives, or not their incentives, what their intentions are. What did they get by saying the things that they do? What's their motive for saying the things they do, or getting the data that they have, or promoting the things that they promote? Like, for example, there's a lot of shit that explain how there's microplastics, and a big, I guess, way I don't know. One of the biggest ways that we get those into our systems is with when plastic is heated at high temperatures. So like if you put a Tupperware in the microwave and you heat it up and it's soup or whatever, there's microplastics in that. You know, the coffee, little K-cups, little plastic cups there, things like that. If there's a scientist or some study that comes out and they say, you know, microplastics, this is how to avoid them, blah, 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 switch to glass. If that person is endorsed by, I don't know the names, Pyrex or something like that. I don't fucking know. Just companies that make glass dishes and stuff. If they're endorsed by them or they're sponsored by them or whatever, it's like, oh yeah, of course they would say that. But if they're independent, they don't have any ties to anything, and they really came across that study and they believe this, and they themselves make changes and they blah, 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 and they're still not, I feel like that's an extremely credible source. What, you know, as long as they're not saying like, oh, switch to this ultra processed chemical grade high industrial revolution blah, 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 blah thing. It's just like, I don't even know much about that. But again, point I'm trying to make is that if we have aligned, I think it's what I'm trying to say, aligned incentives, so they get, I guess with fitness, you know, if somebody's talking about how to gain weight, gain muscle, lose weight, what do they get from telling you to do the thing? Like if they have a supplement brand, it's like, oh, of course they would say they want to sell their supplements. But what if they don't? It's like they just want to help people. Okay, so like now they have reputation. They want to help people. If they don't help people, then their reputation is dog shit. So, you know, it's probably safe to say that this person is doing the best that they can to provide accurate information to help people. Otherwise, they'd be slandered for providing false info and not helping people. So if they didn't, or if they did do that and they got shit on, they'd probably go away. So, you know, safe to say, or safe to put my money on this person that they are doing their due diligence to provide as much accurate info as they can. And I trust this person. So therefore, they will do this line of thinking for me, and I will believe, I will put a filter on, and whatever they say, I'll run it through the filter. If I believe it to be true based on what they said or what I've heard and opposing views or whatever, then I'll just outsource that line of thinking to this person, and, you know, what they find or what they say, I'll run it through my filter, and that'll be kind of like the belief system that I hold based on the certain area of the topic that we're, you know, discussing. So all that to say, I just follow people. I believe what they are saying to be true because there's no ties, they have no sponsors, they have whatever, and they you know, pro-American, pro-freedom, pro all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, that's what I believe in. So I would just have to say that, you know, to a very high degree, I trust a lot of what this person is saying, and I believe that they wouldn't try to spread some bullshit because they have nothing to gain and only everything to lose. So I guess to summarize, it's like, as long as you have aligned incentives, you have, you know, similar goals, your goals are, I don't know. And I think it's totally fine to outsource the thinking. And then if somebody's like, oh, how the fuck do you know that? You can say, well, I just believe that this person did their due diligence, and that's kind of where the belief comes from. That's kind of where I'm at. But I don't want to be that way. I want to know some shit so that I can say, you know, I believe this because XYZ, so-and-so made this claim. I believe this to be true. Study came out that says blah, blah, blah statistic. I believe that to be true. And yada, yada lab came out and said XYZ. And based on this, I think it makes sense that this is the outcome or whatever. So if anything, you know, you could say that this whole thing has really just made me want to just be better with my beliefs. I don't feel like I'm a very convincing person. I don't feel like I speak with conviction. I don't feel like I have a lot of persuasion in my speech at all. I don't feel like I have much to say that's interesting. You know, I find it hard to talk with almost everybody because it's like I just don't care, and that's something I want to fix. You know, the people that I enjoy talking with the most are the people that ask me the most questions. And that sounds so selfish and also obvious, but it's true. Like when somebody's like, oh man, you do this, that's cool. What got you into this? You like this? Oh, so what do you blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I appreciate it, but just from the bottom of my heart, man, I just don't care to do that to other people unless they're like directly in alignment with what I'm doing or with what I would like to do. You know, like I could drill questions toward Mina all day. That's because he is in the line of work, in a similar line of work that I want to be in. Entrepreneur, very successful, making a lot of money, supporting his family. But and that's not to say that I don't want to talk to other people ever, but it's just like, oh, this person has a 9 to 5 and they work on this thing and they don't have any aspirations of doing business, and they just want to take the safe route in life, and they want to do this and save for retirement and go on vacations and use their PTO. Nothing wrong with that, but it's just like we're on different paths. And I say this example all the time, but like, if I'm a golfer, I want to talk with golfers. I don't really give a shit if you're a gardener. Like, good for you. I appreciate the work you do, but like, you're not a golfer. I'm a golfer. I want to talk about golf. And I think that I just don't care enough to want to even talk about gardening, because it's just like you do the gardening, I'm going to do the golf. You find your gardeners. I don't want to pretend to care about your flowers and shit. I don't need to pretend to care about my swings and my putts and my balls. And so I don't know, that's just is the best analogy I can come up with for this shit. And maybe it's just a lack of conversational ability and the lack of being able to, I guess, entertain the idea that people are not into the same things as me. And it's not political at all. It's just like, I don't know, I'll go out and I'll run into a family friend, or I'll see people that I haven't seen in forever, and they're like, hey, how you doing? What you up to? It's just like, oh, you wouldn't understand, bro. Because it's like, it's so specific. They're going to say, oh yeah, cool. And I don't want to even entertain that response. And so what I say is, oh man, I'm doing good. I'm just working, just doing my best to stay alive, and it's not like I don't have any conversational skills. It's just like, I don't even want to be presented with that small talk bullshit of, so how are you doing? I was like, I'm good, man. How are you? Good, man. I'm living the dream. You live here? It's like, yeah. I don't know. I'm just word vomiting at this point. I don't think I'm making any sense, but anyway, let's move topics to something that's really, really fucking cool. So I got an email this morning, and this person reaches out, and they pretty much just said, hey, like they sent an email with their resume and everything that they have accomplished and their goals, or well, I guess some of their intent. And it pretty much just said, hey, I can learn Notion, I can learn Make, I know how to do, these dozen other things very well. I got awarded for this. I won this thing. I got this degree. And, I heard you talking in an episode. By the way, this person's from the podcast, so I'll talk about this in a sec. But they said, yeah, I was listening to this episode and this episode. I binge them sometimes. And I heard you talking about you need a virtual assistant. And I'd love to be that for you. I can learn these things. I'm quick to pick up on these things. And I feel like we can totally work something out. And I'll even work a month for free for you. To show that I can add value and that I can learn Notion and Make. And I read the email and I was like, holy shit. Like, it finally happened. And this person is probably listening right now. And honestly, it's a weird thought for me that somebody listened to this podcast, heard what I was working on, and they want to be a part of it, so much so that they offered me to work for free for a month. That's crazy. So we had a lot of firsts today. So today was the first time anybody from the podcast has reached out via social media. First time anybody from the podcast has reached out via email, like a sincere email. It's the first time somebody has ever in my life, offered to work for free for me. It's the first time anybody in my life has offered to work for me, or has wanted, not offered, who has wanted to work for me. It's the first time anybody has ever, there's one more thing, I can't remember what it was. It's just the first time for a lot of things. Somebody from the podcast reached out. Somebody from the podcast followed me. Somebody from the podcast, well, not even from the podcast, but like somebody wants a job. Somebody is willing to work for free because they either believe in what I'm doing or I even said this in a message back to this person. I was like, hey, just to be 100% transparent, my intent is to have somebody help with XYZ. I want to, when clients come on, I want them to kind of set them up and get them going. There's a lot of tedious shit, a lot of boring shit, and I just need more time in my day, and so that's kind of what I'm looking for. And I said, well, like, what's your motive? Are you, 100% transparency? You just need a job? You're just looking for money? Like, what is it? Because I don't care what it is. I just want you to be honest. And so I sent that, and I don't believe they've responded. I could check really quick. You know what? This person actually did respond, so maybe... Interesting. Well, it's interesting for me to even say this, but this person is listening for sure. And I'm not going to say anything that would guarantee or promise or anything. I'm just going to read it, and just for the sake of the documentation of this podcast, this person's probably going to hear my internal thoughts, but exactly everything I read. So it's documentation. So here we go. So the person says, thanks, Bryson, for responding. I've always been interested in technology. Though originally graduating from an IT degree, I didn't pursue a career in it because of my idealistic notions about public service, hence entering social sciences. However, we need the right skill for sustenance, and that is one of the reasons I've been actively looking to work. I'm a long-time listener, so I know the passion, work ethic required behind your work is immense. So that's cool, because that's accurate. And I feel like the only way to know that is that they really were a long-time listener. So that's very cool. I know that's genuine. Now, what interests me in this? I like the whole idea of building something, although we might use a lot of different technologies for that. In this case, it's Notion, but the understanding behind all would all come down to logic in the end. Once we understand the how to use part of the technology, sorry, let me restart that. Is in this case it's Notion, but the understanding behind all would all come down to logic in the end. Once we understand the how to use part of technology. Also, I've used Notion in college for my exam preps and more, but I haven't delved into anything professional in that respect. Plus, I can assure you, even if there's any other technology that we need to integrate, we can learn it. And that's so true. Notion is something that I revisited actually, I think 4 times. The first time I was like, cool, it takes too long to build anything. Second time I was like, yeah, I'm going to give up. Third time I was like, hey, this has got to be it. I've seen so much cool stuff. And then I was like, yeah. And the fourth time I was like, we're going to learn it. And I did. And I haven't looked back. So, and there's absolutely no reason why we can't learn more shit. It's always a pain in the ass to learn anything new. But then he continues on. Basically, skilling is what I'm after, I guess. And something to say to myself like, you helped build this. Something to say to myself like, you helped build this. A mission to make things better for someone, for the world in some shape or form. I'm willing to work for long hours if the work needs it. No shying away from commitments. Money, job are also nice to have, but I would like to earn that trust for anything financial. I know how hard you've been working for this and the reasons why you do it. In fact, I actually love the long-term mission of yours. Maybe some of those values might rub off on me. Dude, that's cool. Finally, I just say that I might not know the answers to a lot of things, but 100% sure that I will find the answers for you and then implement them. I'd love for you to take a chance on me, and hopefully I won't disappoint. Again, thanks for responding. Really appreciate it. Dude, I'm flattered. I'm also humbled, dude. Somebody reached out and they want to be a part of this, And again, it's also so interesting because I know this person is listening to me respond to their message, and I haven't sent them a text back. And just truthfully speaking, like it's now later. I'm going to upload this show, the previous show, and I honestly just want to go to bed because today's been shitty, and I want to go to bed. So I get a good start tomorrow because tomorrow is all about Dawson. So So anyway, I know this person has coding experience, so I feel like some of the stuff with Notion as far as formulas go would be cake. So yeah, I don't know what compensation would look like. I was looking into it to see kind of an idea, just comparing it with other countries to see kind of the equivalent. And if we could work something out, I think we could absolutely do it. But truthfully speaking, if this person offered a month of free work, I'd like to take advantage of that. I'm not going to shy out. I'm not going to pretend like I wouldn't want to. If they offered it, I'd love it, of course. And then, if they are great, then absolutely. But if if they're not great, and maybe they cause more problems, or maybe I don't know. I don't know whatever it would be. But truthfully speaking, I probably still compensate them to some degree. The thought of them working for a full month, I don't know about that. Without payment, I don't know about that. So maybe that's a testament to my character. I don't know. But like, if you work a full month for me, I promise it won't be for free. But if that's what we agreed upon and you do kill it, maybe I don't know. I don't want to promise anything. I'm not gonna say that. You said a free month, so I'll take you up on that free month. We'll end it there. But anyway, and I'm definitely going to respond to this person, but probably won't be until tomorrow. I want to give this some thought. Also, by the time that I do respond, maybe you've already listened to this, but it's cool. Part of me feels like this person also made an Instagram just to message me, because it looks like their Instagram is brand new. And, at first I was like, oh shit, it's a brand new account. 1 post, 1 follower, 2 following. Fake, but I also got an email. And without sharing names, if you wanted, you could go back and find the names. But I believe that this person, matter of fact, let's check right now. I believe that this is the same person. Where is it? I believe this is the same person that responded with the form for Nito of when I had, hold on, let me get this. I had a Nito form in the description of the show for a while, and it was, you could make suggestions or requests or anything like that. And I would read it, and if there was something any kind of idea or topic or question or whatever it was, then I would address it. This person sent me, I think, 3 long ones. If this is the same person, then there you go. Podcast form. 5 submissions. Okay, maybe it's not the same person then. I'm looking at the email. Hold on, let's see something. Searching up some stuff. Maybe it's not the same person. Oh, it is. This says their name right there. Okay, so this is back in January that this person sent in 4 responses to the podcast, and I said I would get to them, and I never did. So yeah, I was right. I knew it was the same person. I just recognized the name. So all that to say, 1 Instagram follow, or 1 follower, 1 post, 2 following. And based off the fact that this person responded to the form, also sent me an email, all this stuff, I would believe, and I'm just, if you're listening, I'm just sharing my thoughts, because, it's, I guess, unusual for somebody to make an Instagram account, and maybe you didn't do that, I don't know, to then message somebody. So, or you could take it as, it's very cool that they would go to that length to want to get in touch with somebody because they believe in something that you're doing. And maybe it's neither of those things. Maybe you just, I don't know. Maybe you just want money. Maybe you want a job. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I don't believe this is fake. I don't believe this is a scam at all. I really don't think I thought that at all, only because they recognized the name. And this is from January. So this person's been a listener since at least January. Matter of fact, what is it saying here? How about this one? Dude, this is cool. Oh. Hold on, Babes is calling. All right, what's up? I'm back. I don't know how long that phone call was. Let's see. I don't know how long I've been gone for. I was gone for 22 minutes. So I think I was talking about the individual that is in my DMs. So I don't think there's anything else I want to say other than it's just cool. You know, so this is, you know, I talked about for a while how I haven't gotten one follower or one DM or anything from the podcast. Not that that's a goal, but, you know, 600, I guess is 93 or 94 episodes now. I don't know what the fuck it is. Is this episode 694? I guess you'll know when you see the title. Wait. Oh, that's what this is. So it is 694. I still haven't uploaded 693 yet. But yeah, 694 days straight of doing this. Over 700 episodes. I think we're at 750 or something like that. 730 or 740, I don't know. Almost 2 years straight, every single day, to get one DM, one follower. Well, to be fair, I got somebody who wants to, you know, work on the things that I'm working on. Wants to, or sent a message, sent a DM, followed me, and got an email. So, like, you know, all one person, I get that, but 2 years straight to get one, you know? Now, obviously, this podcast doesn't focus on, you know, trying to get listeners, their professionalism. I don't market this, I don't advertise it, I don't say shit. I've deleted all things on my social media that relate to this. I just don't think that I want this to get out there as much as maybe I did, you know, a year ago. I think it'd be cool the more people hear this, but also I'm not doing anything yet. You know, the day maybe when I, you know, sell like 3 people in one day, or, you know, make $100,000 in a year, shit, even like 50 grand in a month or something like that, something crazy to my standards. Maybe I'll take this and try to put it out there. But I don't know. I kind of like that this is on the down low, and I kind of like the fact that, you know, none of this shit is going to be heard for years. I kind of like that. And the people who have heard it, you know, they're the people who were early on, like this person. I think it's kind of cool. So, I don't know. I'm definitely going to respond to this person tomorrow, because I'm definitely going to upload this and then go to bed. Just get a good start tomorrow. I laid on my air mattress for a sec today, and I was just scrolling social media and almost fell asleep multiple times. I don't know if that's because I'm tired or if that's just because I was sitting there in a perfect, comfortable little air mattress. I don't know. But, yeah. Anyway, that's all I got for today. So, yeah, appreciate you guys listening, and talk to you tomorrow. Peace.